Today's topic is exception handling using logging. So let us start with our video and let us start with our program. So first we have opened the folder which is known as exception underscore handling, and inside this folder now we will create a Python file. We will give it the name as log exception dot py. So this is a Python file. So now we have got a Python file. Now we will start with our code. So first we will understand the concept of exception handling. So now at first we will leave some lines at the top, and then we will start with the code of exception handling. So in exception handling, the code comprises of mainly two blocks. At first it is the try block, and then it is the except block. Okay, so let us start with the try block, that is try. So we have started our try block, and inside the try block we can write or we can perform a piece of code. Okay, so let us try a piece of code inside the try block. That is, suppose we take a number from user input. Okay, so number equal to int input, enter a number. So we have taken a number from user input. Now let us perform suppose division. Okay, so let us perform division with this number. So suppose result equal to 100 divided by the number. Okay, so we have performed the division. Now we will print the result. Okay, so inside the try block now we have done a code, or we have performed a certain code. We will take a number from user input, then in result we will divide by 100 and we will print the result. Okay, now our try block is over. Now let us go to the except block. Inside the except block, the whole logic of the except block, it actually lies along the concept that suppose instead of the number that has to be taken as an integer, instead of taking a number as an input, we take alphabet, suppose a comma b comma c, anything as an input. That is, errors can actually occur in the runtime. So in the runtime, if some error occurs, that is, if we take, instead of an integer we take a character, that is a b c, we take some this type of values as the input, then what will it show? Okay, so there comes our exception. So the first exception is except value error. Okay, so this is a very first exception. In this case it will print, so in this case it will print invalid input entered. So when during the runtime, instead of taking a number as a user input, you take a character, that is a or b or anything which is not an integer. You take an input as anything which is not an integer, then it will raise an exception, that is value error, and inside the exception it will print a message, that is invalid input entered. Okay, so this is the first case. Another case that can occur, that can be except 0 division error. Okay, so the logic of this case is, suppose as a user input you are taking an integer only, but you are taking 0 as an integer input. You are not taking 1 2 3 or anything, you are taking 0 as an integer input. Then what will happen? So you know that a number cannot be divided by 0. Okay, it will throw an error. So in this case it will raise an exception. When we will try to divide by 0, it will show an exception, that it will print a message that user user entered or user type division by 0. Okay, so instead of throwing an error, it will raise an exception when you will give 0 as a user input. Then it will show the message or it will print that user tried division by 0. Okay, so this is the part of the exception handling program. Now we will know about logging. Okay, so after the concept of exception handling, then we come to logging. Okay, so now we go back to the top lines of the code, and now we start with our logging part. So at first, very first, we will import a module which is named logging. So we import a module logging. Okay, we have imported a module called logging. Now the next line is logging dot basic configure. This is our next line. Then we'll open the bracket. Okay, so the meaning of this line is that it configures the whole logging system. This line configures the whole logging system. Okay, now if we come about the whole concept of logging, so we need logging in order to know what actually happened. Okay, and if we explain it in very simple way, then by the help of the logging, all the errors and the exceptions that are during the runtime, they can be stored into a log file or into a file which is known as the log file, so that the user can easily see what type of exceptions or errors were made during the runtime of the program. So in order to show that, we create a log file, and inside that we store all the exceptions. So this line, it actually configures the whole logging system. Okay, now we need to create the log file. For that, file name equal to, suppose we give the name as app.log. Okay, file name equal to app.log, comma. So we have mentioned the file name. Now we will go to the next step of the program, that is level equal to logging dot error. Okay, so this is the next line of the program. It means that the level is, in this level, it will log only the error messages to the log file. That means in the log file, only the error messages will be shown. The errors or the exceptions that are made during the running the program, only those messages will be shown in the log file. Hence, level equal to logging.error. Error means only the error messages or the error will be shown in the log file. Okay. So hope this line is clear. Now we go to the next line. What is the next line? Next line will clear about the format. We will mention the format in which the error should be shown or the message should be shown in the log file. So the format is, at first we will keep, suppose the current date and the time. Okay, means at which time or which date the error has been occurred, or it has been raised or it has been made during the runtime. So for that, at first percentage ASC time, ascending time. Okay, then hyphen, then the next we will show the level name. The level name means the error. Okay, so here level name means the error, so it will show a error here. So this also we have done. Then another hyphen, then we will show the message. Okay, so message means that suppose user tried division by 0 or user entered a invalid input. So this will be the message that will be shown. Okay, so we have mentioned the format very clearly. Okay, so we are done with the logging part. So now we need to make few changes here in the program, and the changes are, okay, so here we have created a log file and we have given the configuration and we have told what to do. We have told that we need to log only the error messages in the log file. We need to store only the error messages from the program during the runtime in the log file. Okay, now we need to mention a very few important steps in the except blocks. Okay. So in case of the except value error, what we need to do, when there will be a except value error case, or when there will be this type of exception, then in the log file it will show that it has to show that error. Okay. So what we need to do, after the print line, we will log that error. So that is done by logging dot error. Okay. And inside this, we will show the message in the log file that user entered invalid input. Okay, so inside the log file, it will show that user entered invalid input when there will be a except value error case during the runtime of the program. Okay, so it will show this type of message. And same way in the case of except zero division error, we will show that again logging dot error. And this time it will show that user tried division by 0. Okay. So when there will be a zero division error case, when we will take a user input as 0, then the error, the exception will be shown, and in the log file it will show the message as user tried division by 0, as we have done it by using logging.error. Okay. So now we have done with the whole program. Now we can run the program. Okay. So let's run the program now. So we right click on the Python file, reveal in file explorer. Okay. And in the path, we just type cmd. Okay. So our command prompt is open for the folder. Now we run the program. Python space log exception dot py. So it is asking for a number. Okay. So let us now give an integer. Instead of giving an integer, let us give a character, that is a. Okay. So it is showing that invalid input entered. Okay. So as soon as we run the program, here app.log file is automatically created, as we have created a file name known as app.log. So here the app.log, the log file is created. Now we have got first expression, the invalid input entered when we have entered a as a user input. Now let us go to the app.log and check whether the data has come or not of our error. So yes, our data has come in the exact format that we have mentioned, that is first the current date and time, then the error message, that is the level name, and then the message, that is user entered invalid input. Now let us try with another one. Okay. So now let us again run the program. And now let us take 0 as the user input. So if we take 0 as the user input, then it shows user tried division by 0. Now again in the log file it should come as this message should be stored. So user tried division by 0. So yes, in the second case it is stored that user tried division by 0. And the error is shown in the same format. So this brings us to the end of the program. So thank you.